everybody! On my very first video, a friend of mine had come across my YouTube channel through me posting about it on my Instagram, and he commented on the first video and he asked me to do a video about my favorite manga and my favorite anime. So it is probably gonna have to be broken down into two videos only because I can't shut up about manga and anime. It's a problem. It's a part of my addictions. I love reading. I love manga. I can't talk about manga and an anime in one video and keep it at a decent length video. So we're gonna break that up. Glad you guys can make it. I hope you enjoy. I will mention this now. Spoiler warning. I probably will talk about things that if you haven't seen the show or if you're just starting to watch, it may come as a spoiler for you guys. I'm not too far into the show to say every spoiler, but I just want to warn you anyway. And I do hope that talking about it will make you guys want to look into the show, give it a chance. It's a little daunting, but it'll be totally worth it, I swear. So when I was asked this question, or when I was asked to talk about this, honestly is one of the hardest topics for me because there's so many different anime that I love to watch, and there's certain reasons why I wanted to choose one anime or another. I was between two anime as my top favorite. One of the choices for me was Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. The reason that it was one of the choices to be my favorite, it's the first one I watched with my husband and I absolutely loved it. It was something we bonded over after organic chemistry. It kind of gave us this relaxation for us. And at first, I didn't think I would like it. I was very hesitant about anime back then. Not that I thought it would be some horrible show. I just grew up with people who didn't really watch anime. I never hung out with people who watched anime. I was under the impression that anime were cartoons for children. I didn't know anything about it. I do feel like Full Metal Alchemist is important to me because it was that first anime that really opened my eyes and started my love for anime and for manga, because that's the reason I started reading manga. So it has a special place in my heart. It's my husband's favorite too. And it, like I said, it was the first one we ever bonded over. So it's important to me. Up until kind of recently, not that recent, maybe within the last year, it was my favorite. And then I was recommended One Piece. And at first I wasn't gonna watch it. I didn't care about pirates. I didn't care about watching a show that was 1,000 episodes. It was daunting. I wasn't ready to embark on that journey. I kept asking friends who watched anime, because now I have friends who have watched anime. Everybody gave it this amazing review. You have to watch it. I never heard anything bad about One Piece. So I just decided to watch the anime, give it a try. If I wasn't hooked by the first 3 episodes, I was gonna give up, and that was that. Just a waste of 3 episodes, nothing more. Well, it's amazing. And by 3 episodes, I couldn't stop. I am absolutely obsessed. It is easily my favorite. Full Metal will always have a special place in my heart, but One Piece is equally there, and I can't deny that. So in this video, let's talk about why it's my favorite, who are my favorite characters, my least favorite characters, favorite arcs, not so favorite arcs, and we can go from there. I can even tell you guys other anime I watch. We can have discussions about that another time, obviously, but give you an idea of what I do watch and what my interests are. So the main reason I love One Piece is the characters. It's really hard to find a show that you could even like the enemies. There's not many shows you could find like that. And every character is unique in their own way. They have special abilities, special backstories. Every story arc has a lot of character development. Each character grows in their own way, and I love that they can actually keep showing every character's growth, because there are a lot of characters. There's a big main cast and then all these side characters that they're giving backstory on. They're giving this depth to, and I like that they don't ruin it by going into all that detail with everybody. I have become more invested every episode I watch, and there are a lot of episodes. There's over 1,000 now, and I am at a little over 600. I'd be further along if I didn't have to wait for my husband to watch it with me or for him to be in the mood, but that's fine. I don't mind. It gives me that time to want to watch it more and then get more excited about it, and it further helps my intrigue towards the plot. Right now, I just finished the Punk Hazard arc, so they're leaving the island, and I'm pretty sure Doflamingo is about to drop down on the Marines, so it's going to be interesting. I have to say, I love the post-time skip era right now. I love pre-time skip too, but Post-time skip is really exciting. Not that it wasn't exciting before, but there's some crazy shit happening in this arc. I do hope that you kind of get more of a glimpse into the time skip, like maybe just like hints at like what they did. I know they do drop some hints, but okay, I want more than hints. I want a little bit more detail. But if Oda doesn't, he's the author of the manga, if he doesn't want to talk about it and leave it a little bit shrouded in mystery, I'm okay with that. It's still an amazing show. I'm not going to complain about 2 years that I don't know what happened. Although I would really love to know how Zoro got that scar. I think the dynamic between the Straw Hat crew is really like well balanced. I do like that you see these main characters, they have incredible skills, but they're not super overpowered that they can defeat anybody they look at. I mean, they could if they had more training, which that's why the time skip happens. And they do defeat everybody they kind of come into contact with because they'll get defeated and then they'll persevere, which I love that. They're not just gonna come in, slap a guy down and win and that's all. Like, they really have to struggle. They have to learn. They have to grow. They can't just stay where they're at in order to get to the goals that they want. I like that you get to see every character's backstory. They all have a pretty rough backstory. It's sad, but I think it's what drives them to be the best versions of themselves. It's not just the Straw Hats I love either. I absolutely love a lot of other characters, a lot of their allies, a lot of their enemies. There are definitely some I don't like, and I'm okay with that. You're not gonna like everybody, and they are the enemies, so that's okay. But, you know, I love Ace. Rest in peace. I love Whitebeard. Also, rest in peace. I love Buggy. I love Jinbei. I love Shanks and Trafalgar Law. And I like Smoker. I like Crocodile. I like Mr. Two. I love them all. And it's really fun seeing them reappear in the show, too. I like that the author isn't just focusing on the main characters and making you just like them. He gives you that level of entertainment with everybody. He makes you want to see more of those characters, not just the Straw Hats. I could honestly sit here for hours to talk about this show. I am hoping to be able to get the box sets to read the manga. I know we're in the final arc of the manga. The author says in the next few years he wants to have the manga finished, and that's what his plan is. And that makes me very sad, but it also means I can get these box sets. I have the last box set that was made just because it was on like a super sale a while back. So I'm hoping to save money and get the rest of the box sets because I want to read it so bad. And my library doesn't seem to hold any manga whatsoever because why should I be happy? I'm suffering. Okay, so let's talk about what I really love about the show other than the characters. I think there's a lot of humor in the show. There's definitely a lot of seriousness and emotion that comes in the show, and you really feel that emotion for the show. But the humor is great. Some of the things that happen, I have to like rewind it because I'm either laughing so hard that I'm not hearing all of it, or I want to make sure my husband saw it because you never know, and I want to make sure he didn't miss it. Like, really funny things, especially like among the Straw Hat crew, like seeing how they just abuse Luffy every time he does something dumb. Everything they do, it's just really funny. But like also you'll see that side where, you know, they're fighting and they're all very serious. So we can talk about favorite characters. I'm gonna break it down into my favorite Straw Hat member and my favorite non-Straw Hat member because I have a lot of favorites and I really needed to not just break it down to one. I could just break it down to two. It was still hard, but it was a little easier. My favorite Straw Hat, I would have to say, is Zoro. I love Zoro's backstory. I love his hot-headed temper and the fact that he can't get directions straight to save his life. Literally could be dying, and if it involves him going in the right direction, he will die. It will happen. I love that he is very dedicated and loyal to his crew, even though he seems like a jerk. He cares about them all, even Sanji. He's very serious. He wants to be the best swordsman to ever live, which means defeating Mihawk. And he trained under Mihawk. He was able to put aside that desire to defeat him in order to learn from him, in order to be stronger for Luffy and the crew. So when they were fighting Baroque Works, Zoro had to fight a guy who is literally made of steel. Almost, I think I want to say more blades, but like his body was steel. And he couldn't cut that. And Zoro was able to sit there while being messed up in this fight and think to himself what his teacher had told him when he was a lot younger about, being able to cut paper and being able to cut anything if you just try hard enough and you hit at the right speed and whatever the case may be. And he learned how to cut steel, that he was willing to do that in order to help his crew, in order to progress, in order to get stronger. And I think that that was really cool that he could do it so quickly in the middle of battle. That was really cool to me. I also really like that he did try to fight Mihawk in the very beginning of the show and was decimated by Mihawk. He should have died from that, but he didn't, and he vowed to Luffy never to lose again. And he bowed to Mihawk, begging him to train him when it came time to get stronger because they couldn't defeat the pacifistas in the Sabaody Archipelago arc. I also found it really honorable and heroic when Kuma was going to kill Luffy, and Zoro didn't want that. Zoro wanted to protect him, and Kuma said that he will allow Luffy to stay here and live if Zoro was willing to take all of Luffy's pain into his body. Kuma said it should have killed Zoro, and it didn't. And he suffered in pain. Nobody even knew that that happened. Not in the Straw Hat crew. I think only one person figured it out. Zoro never spoke about it. He made them swear not to speak about it. And again, really, really honorable. He was suffering. And that's also why he really wasn't physically as strong to fight the pacifistas before the time skip. So my favorite non-Straw Hat is Trafalgar Law. Both of them are also my favorites because of how very attractive I find them, but that's not the only reason. That's just kind of a bonus. But Trafalgar Law is my favorite non-Straw Hat. I haven't seen too much of him in the show as like a whole. I just really like what I have seen so far. We saw him for the first time in the pre-time skip at Sabaody, and then we see him again not long after that post-time skip starts, and he is just, I love him. Law is mysterious, and although, like Zoro, he doesn't smile as much after the time skip, I feel like they were both kind of cynical, they were kind of mysterious. They still smiled, they had their jokes, they both got a lot more serious after the time skip. I still quite like his personality. I think that just because he's serious doesn't mean he's not enjoyable to watch. Like I said, Zoro's also serious. I kind of like that because they can find humor at times, but they're generally overall a serious person. He doesn't seem to take any BS from anyone. I mean, during the time skip, he became a warlord, and he is just very no BS, straight to the point, will kill anybody who gets in his way, does not care kind of guy. Granted, he does take BS from Luffy because you can't tell Luffy what to do, apparently, which is why I said that he most definitely will want to kill Luffy a few times while they're together. I do like the dynamic between Law and Luffy. You're taking somebody who's super goofy and somebody who's super serious, somebody who's laid back to somebody who's very stick to the plan, and you're putting them together, and I think there's going to be a lot of clashing, but I think they're going to work really well. I think there's going to be a lot of harmony there too. He respects Luffy. He's just baffled by how Luffy gets away with everything he does and how Luffy could be so dense sometimes. We don't see him for long in Sabaody, just like maybe an episode or two before Luffy and his crew literally get slapped off that island by Kuma. I wish I was joking. They were literally slapped off that island. And once Luffy realizes his brother is in danger, he breaks into Impel Down. Well, after breaking into Impel Down, he breaks out of Impel Down, takes quite a lot of escaped convicts with him because he breaks them all out too, and he goes to Marineford to save his brother from execution. And it is a very intense battle, and when he becomes catatonic and almost dies, Law and his crew just appear, take him, and save him, and then help him get to a safe place to do his training. It's that kind of action that makes me realize how much respect he has for Luffy and how much he wants to keep him alive. He wants to have somebody to consider a worthy opponent for him. When Luffy and his crew arrive in Punk Hazard and see Trafalgar Law, like, you can see that difference in demeanor. He's very cold, but Law's on a mission right now. He is on a revenge mission. He doesn't want anyone getting in his way, but he does join up with them. He makes an alliance with them, and I'm so excited to see how this alliance goes and like see more of them working together. One thing I find really cool is that like Law cut out Smoker's heart. Like he just poked his heart and just it came out in like a little cube, and Law had his heart cut out and they could still survive, but if you squeeze on the heart it hurts them and they could die. It's very weird, very cool. I am such a nerd. I'm so sorry. Their alliance is for them to go on a quest to take down the emperors, and I'm excited to see all of that happen. I'm excited to see the intense adventure that they're going to go on. I want to see more of his personality develop. I want to see that backstory that they have to show it. They can't have him this much and not show his backstory. But yeah, those are my two favorites. So now I'm going to talk about my least favorites. And this was probably my hardest decision for at least the Straw Hat least favorite, because I love them all so much. I don't really see any of them as a least favorite. Like I love them all. So I had to think of a few different criteria as to how I will choose my least favorite. A lot of them have left the crew at some point. A lot of them have done shady things. A lot of them have been mean while dealing with their own struggles. So I had to think of who left the crew, who acted the worst, how did they leave the crew. I had to think of those as my way because that was the only way I was going to make a decision. So I did come to the conclusion that Usopp would be my least favorite, only because his reasoning for leaving the crew was kind of nonsense in my eyes. Nami left to protect her family. Robin leaves because she thinks she's gonna die and not worth living. Like they all have this big deep reason of like life or death. Usopp leaves because he's butthurt that he's one of the weakest links in the crew. And I don't think that he sees his potential because he always gets beat so close to death pre-time skip, and I get that that would be horrifying and scary and heart-wrenching for him and soul-crushing, but it's okay to be the weakest link and still be effective. Just because you're not on Zoro's level or Sanji's level or Luffy's level doesn't mean you're not useful. But at the same time, him and Nami were always the weakest links, and they were still both really effective, and Nami knew her effectiveness and she knew her worth, and I feel like Usopp should have also known his worth. Nobody else can snipe the way he can. So that the way he left and the fact that he leaves and like throws a fight, and the reason behind it is also because their first boat that they got from a girl that he had a crush on, it's breaking, it's falling apart, and he doesn't want to give it up, and they don't want to give it up either, but they have to survive and they have to be able to have a boat to do that. And if they take that boat into the ocean again, they'll like die. So I don't think he was thinking that through, and he thought that if the boat left, then he was as useless as the boat. Really dramatic. That's probably why I hate it so much, and I'm glad he does come back because I do love Usopp. It's just out of all of the exits from the other crew members, this has to be my least favorite. Wasn't an easy decision to make, but a decision had to be made. But enough talking about why I wouldn't like him. I do want to mention that I do still love his character. He's very funny. He is sometimes unintentionally funny because he's such a negative character. And one of my favorite scenes, and I just can't stop laughing when I think about it, is when they're on Thriller Bark. There's a girl with a devil fruit power that she has like these ghosts type of things, and she has these negative ghosts. And when they pass through you, you're essentially unable to fight, unable to move, and all you do is say negative things about yourself. And she keeps hitting Usopp with these ghosts, and he is like, nobody is more negative than me. And I think that's really hilarious because he was able to defeat her just because he's a negative person. Really funny point in that show for me. But yeah, he had to be the least favorite. That doesn't mean I don't love him, it just means there had to be one. The least favorite overall characters outside of the Straw Hat, really easy decision. That is going to be Blackbeard. I hate that guy. I can rage about that guy. I'm gonna try not to rage about that guy. No, I'm gonna rage. I despise this man. Absolutely despise him. He is so overcome with his desire to be powerful that he will do whatever it takes. And I know there are a lot of people like that in the show, but I just hate him because if it wasn't for his selfish, evil, egotistical having ass, Ace would still be alive. Whitebeard would still be alive. I honestly would not have cared too much about him because you do see him in an earlier arc, and he's not really that important in that arc. But right before the time skip, not far before that, you find out that he is searching for Luffy. He is trying to get Luffy to give him in to the Marines, and Ace finds out, and that is Luffy's brother. So Ace is like, I can't let you do that. So Ace starts to fight Blackbeard, and Ace has this really cool fire power, but Blackbeard has this like power that nullifies devil fruits. So he nullified Ace's and captured him, gave him to the Marines. Now their grandfather is a Marine, so mad that he let Ace stay there, but I know he also didn't have a choice, but I'm a little salty. But my anger is more geared towards Blackbeard. And he breaks into Impel Down not long after Luffy, and he like recruits more, I'm gonna call him henchmen, because that's the kind of guy who seems like he would have henchmen, not a crew. And he goes to Marineford not long after Luffy, starts causing chaos, and when he sees that Whitebeard is dead, he like puts a towel or like a tarp over Whitebeard, because Whitebeard is an absolute unit. He is a giant, and like finds a way to steal Whitebeard's devil fruit power, which I don't know how he does that, but now he has 2 devil fruit powers. So if it wasn't for that old, creepy, scummy, sleazy man, Ace and Whitebeard would still be alive. Luffy wouldn't have gone catatonic. None of that would have happened. Marineford wouldn't have been destroyed. Impel Down wouldn't have been destroyed. I know there's some good things that came out of that, but like Ace had a hole punched through his body, which I hate the guy who did that too, but again, that wouldn't have been an issue if Blackbeard didn't lead him there. So I am hoping that he is like one of the final battles and that Luffy just wrecks him with Law, because we love Law. I want him to be one of those characters that just die. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's talk about my favorite arc. I was between Punk Hazard and Marineford, but I think I'm going to choose Marineford just because there's a lot that happened. I include Impel Down with that as well. So, you know, you had that break-in. You got to see Buggy and Luffy unite, and Mr. 3 and Mr. 2, and they all came together, and like, even though Mr. 3 and Buggy were trying to leave Luffy and go do what they needed to do and be safer, they were all end up working together anyway and escaping, and then they all go, except Mr. 2. Mr. 2 didn't escape. He helped them escape by staying behind. I hope we see him again. But right after they break out of Impel Down, they continue on their quest to save Ace, and they go right into Marineford, and it's this huge battle. You see so many characters, you see so many different types of devil fruit users, hockey users, so many different things. It's definitely a powerful arc, and it's an intense arc, and it's an arc where you don't see Luffy with his Straw Hat crew, so it's different, and I actually thoroughly love it. I love the intensity. I love that like heart-wrenching, like you really are rooting for Ace to be saved and for them to escape. So I definitely love that. It was heart-wrenching. It was powerful. My favorite. Punk Hazard's really cool too, but couldn't beat Marineford. My least favorite arc would have to be the Skypiea arc. I just didn't care for it. I think it was funny that the crew was trying to enter Sky Island and they were like, you have to pay this fee. And they were like, yeah, we're not going to do that. And like just breathing would give them higher fines, and they didn't care. They just went about their day. I thought that was funny, seeing how the Straw Hats reacted to it, but it was just a really obnoxious arc. You're going to fine somebody for breathing the wrong way. And then I really loved that like Nami found out the amount that they were charging them, and she comes in and just swings at them, and she's like, that is way too high, way too expensive, which of course, you know, makes their bounty worse. And then they're exiled to an island where the god is gonna kill them, and the god is just some jerk who wants to destroy the whole island anyway. It was just really obnoxious. I didn't like the god. I didn't like how he thought he was so powerful and he's gonna destroy this island because living in the sky is unnatural. Bro, you're unnatural, so get over it. So that was just kind of like, it was a good show to, like a good arc to watch, but I'm not itching to watch it again like I would be with Marineford or something. But yeah, that's basically my reasoning for One Piece being my favorite anime. There's a lot of twists, a lot of turns, a lot of powerful moments, a lot of hilarious moments. The characters are really enjoyable. It's a great show. And I do think that if you guys have the time to give it to watch, 1,000 episodes sounds like a lot, but they're like 15-minute episodes. Like I said, I really want the manga. I think I will love the manga as much as I love the show. Other animes that I love watching would be Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, obviously, One Punch Man, Pokemon, Haikyuu, Attack on Titan, Tokyo Ghoul, Demon Slayer, Parasite, Seven Deadly Sins, Death Note before they killed L. I am still currently watching One Punch Man. I just finished watching the last episode of Attack on Titan. I'm still watching Haikyuu. It's just I can't seem to find it on any streaming services to finish the show. I have to wait. And then I'm waiting for the rest of Demon Slayer to come out so I can finish that too. I also just finished watching Naruto, and I'm currently watching Naruto Shippuden. So I am interested in that. I do want to eventually watch Boruto. Yeah, I'm excited. If you guys have any suggestions on animes, please drop them in the comments. I am always willing to watch new stuff. I've also watched Berserk, but it's not like a full like anime series. It was like 3 movies type of thing. They were really good, and it doesn't go over the entire series. If you like this video, leave a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe and press the notification button so you can be informed every time I post a new video. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!